Hello movers, Josh here from Infuse Health. I'm going to take you through a series of fundamental crawling patterns for you guys to practice. Got Elise here who's going to demonstrate. We're going to start with the simplest of patterns. Pretty much everyone has done this pattern before, maybe not everyone, most. It is a bear crawl. So Elise is just going to put his hands flat on the ground. Try not to ever do any of these crawling patterns on the fingers or with the palm of the hands off the ground. Always try to maintain full palms down position. So a bear crawl is just an elevated bum. Bum goes as high as you can. From here, Elise just starts a walking pattern. It's a contralateral walking pattern, which means the opposite hand and opposite leg are working at the same time. You can have soft bent knees, you can have fully straight legs if your hamstrings are long enough to open. I'll just get Elise to turn around and go back. So for those that are quite mobile, you start to compress the body, hamstrings open. This is Elias's extent. His hamstrings are not bad at all. He's no yogi though. For those that are a bit tighter, you can be longer, the knees can be more bent, whatever your bear crawl looks like, as long as you're putting some tension into your hamstrings. Awesome. The next pattern we're going to go through is a basic flat back animal crawl. We call this a quadrupedal crawl or a cat crawl. All I'm going to ask Elise to do is the same contralateral pattern where he's moving. Actually, we're going to start with a baby crawl. The baby crawl will just check in that our hands and legs are moving in the correct order. So one shoulder, one hip's moving, and then the opposite. So off Elias goes in a baby crawl. Perfect. Just pause there. Once you've got this pattern, some of us will struggle with this at first if we haven't done this. It'll be a connection that needs to be made. But Elias has this pattern. So all I'm going to ask him to do is to tuck the toes under and to lift the knees off the ground a maximum of 2 inches. Typically 1 inch is fine.
Can you say in centimeters?
25 millimeters. And then I'm going to just ask him to crawl in that same baby crawl pattern that he was just doing. Perfect. We've got a quadrupedal crawl. Try to keep the eyes up looking forward. Elias can lift his knees a little bit further off the ground. It looks good. Turn around for us, Elias. So there's things to improve the quality of this. This drill is often used to connect the hip to the shoulder. So we're working the strong diagonal line across our body. So if Elias goes again, if there is instability through the hips, there's usually a really loose rock through the hips as he walks. You'll see someone who doesn't have a great deal of core control, and their quadrupedal crawl, there's a lot of unnecessary movement in there. One version would be to make it really strict, where you're trying to keep the hips from dropping away as we walk. So off we go, Elias. Try to stabilize. To stabilize, Elias just opened his hips. Not a bad technique, not a good one, just the technique. Awesome. We can basically build the cat crawl to a pretty high level, but for now that's more than enough. The next movement we're going to go to is a wallaby crawl. This is from a squat variation. So Elias is just going to come into a squat. If you don't have a squat, then you come into a partial squat at whatever depth you can sink to. It becomes difficult. If you're too high, you're going to have trouble reaching forward on the ground. So if Elias comes up into a soft squat, maybe a 90-90 squat, to come into a wallaby crawl, I'm going to ask him to reach forward with his hands, flat palms on the ground, take load through straight arms, through the shoulders, and a little hop forward. Reach again, little hop. This is a wallaby crawl. You can call it what you want. We call it a wallaby crawl. If Elias can come down into his full squat pattern, if the range is there, he's going to reach forward, Bring the feet as far past his hands as you can. Really strong through the upper body, strong through the hips. So come back, Elias, start to make it a little bit more fluid, link them together. Your version of a wallaby crawl. Straight arms. Nice. This is a great way to mobilize the hips. If you're having trouble getting down, check out the squat routine video. It will help open things up. The next version that we're going to try is basically a lateral pattern to what we just did. It's a monkey crawl. Elias is going to find a squat. He's going to locomote in a sideways direction. So what I'm going to get him to do is to reach with the back hand across his body, plant that hand, then the second hand, and a little hop from one side to the other, back through squat. Reaching back hand, front hand, strong arms, transition across. Keep going. Awesome, and then to come back, again leading with the back hand across the body, plant it strongly, front hand, jump, back hand, front hand, little hop across. Beautiful. Nice, Elias. And for those that are quite tight through the hips, your version may be much higher. It doesn't have to be a full depth version. Elias is mobile, he's open, he can get down. Any other patterns we should touch on?
Yeah, just for those out there that are seeking for a variation on the monkey, we can do them reaching further, and you stay hips as slow as you can, both ways, coming back. Or you can go taking your hips, and some people might call it levitating, or getting a bit of air time. Keeping the bum up, bending or keeping your legs straight is up to you. That's the other variations we can add to the monkey and maintain the same pattern.
Perfect. There is literally so many little sub variations of these movements. That was just a couple of the foundation crawling patterns. Remember that any pattern that can be done forwards can be done backwards. Any pattern that can be done backwards and forwards can also be done laterally, can be done on the angle. There's just so many subtle variations that we can add to break outside the normal square, the normal box. So have a play with things, see where your practice takes you. We'll try to do a second video with some more advanced, some more complicated locomotion patterns. For now, enjoy. Thanks for joining us.